learn to enhance your chords?
I played a lot of sacred arrangements. Excuse me. And that kind of gave me more ideas to have prettier chords than just the ones that are in the hymnal. So if you play like sacred arrangements by, you can get them from any music publisher. If you'll Google sacred arrangements of hymns, you'll find tons of them. Bible Truth Music produces them. Striving Together Publications, Lauren's Publications has Soundforth, which is like Rebecca Bonham, some of those people that are just really, really great. And I played a lot of their arrangements in high school, so then that influenced how I now do my hymns for sure.
Do you use the videos posted for congregationals, or do you do something different for congregationals?
A little bit of both. Like, it depends on the style of the song. Like, if I played Be Thou My Vision as a congregational, I would not do all that I just did. I would play more like, I think it's in E flat. Yeah, I think it's in E flat. Okay, so it's... But if I'm doing an arrangement of it, you have a lot more freedom. So that's why you can add more of your... You can do more with it. So there is a difference in congregational playing and what I do for arrangements.
How does a beginner pianist make songs fuller?
Do you read music? Because if you read music, I would recommend the Hymnproviser series by Shelley Hamilton and Flora Jean Garlock. It's produced by Majesty Music. And they take hymns like At Calvary, which is written, right? And they'll show you the sheet music of how to broaden it. So octave it, put a whole chord in your bass. So it'll be more like. So I'd recommend getting their book if you're a note reader. If you're not a note reader, then what you can do is like take the song At Calvary or any of those, and you want to have an octave in your bass, and you want to try to have a lot of movement in your bass, as well as adding in some chords. In your right hand, you want to octave the melody and put the harmony notes, which would be the tenor and the alto, in the middle. So it sounds more like this. And that's good even if you are a note reader. You could do that straight from the hymnal. Octave the bass, chords in the right hand, octave the melody, and move your hand around, like notice at the end of the chorus or at the end of the verse. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 beats. What can I do there? So I can go 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. That right there is called outline the chord. So if I'm on a C chord, the 3 notes in the chord are C, E, and G. So you can outline it forward or backwards. So I went backwards that time, but I could have gone. Or you can do it slower. See, I just did it on the F chord. So your goal is to find ways to connect those chords. Like if I'm going from C to F, well, I've got D and E in between there. Could I do eighth notes? 1 and 2 and then I'm ready for the F chord. Do triplets, all sorts of things like that.
One time you mentioned in a video that there were YouTube tutorials for Southern Gospel style playing. Do you know how to find them?
I would go on YouTube and I would type in Southern Gospel piano tutorials. I know that sounds basic, but if you type that in or gospel piano, you'll pull up tons of videos. Some of them are going to be tutorials. Some of them are going to be more like someone telling you how they do it and then playing a song in that way. I just found a channel the other week. I can't remember the name of it. It was like an older gentleman who plays like almost like I don't want to say a saloon style, but that's kind of the idea, where it's like a real bouncy back and forth, kind of like an old 20s, 30s style of piano. So you can find tons of videos on YouTube for gospel piano.
How can you tell when to walk in your left hand?
Depends on what chord I'm going to. So if I'm at, like, let's take out Calvary again. So, okay, 2, 3, 4. I've got 3 beats that don't have anything in them. And I know that at the beginning of the chorus, beat 1, mercy there was great, right there, I'm going to be on an F chord. So what I can do is I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So I'm looking for ways to connect it, knowing what chord I'm going to, like that. Okay, I'm staying on the C chord. Well, I'm on an F in the beat 1, but then it changes to C. So I can go 1, 2, 3. Since I'm staying on C, I chose to outline the chord. I don't need to change it. And then I can go. Well, I had and 2. Where did I go? Oh yeah, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. So it always depends on what chord I'm going to. So if I'm headed back to the C chord, then I would walk up from G to C. If I'm going from C to G, I would. Headed to the F chord, I had 3 beats, so I walked it up in scales. See that? F, G, A. Hope that helps.
What is your favorite hymn?
Great is thy faithfulness.
Will you play it?
Yes.
Do you follow notes or play chords?
Both. It depends. In the hymnal, if I'm playing a song, that I know, okay, like Comforters Come, open right to that one, I don't have to follow the notes as much because I've played it a lot, so I know what they are. Sometimes if it's a song like Near the Cross, which has a lot of changes, like you could go. Some people go to the 6 minor there. Other people go 7, 4. So that's a little confusing if there's a couple possible ways it could play. So when I'm playing for a congregational, we did that one Wednesday night at church. I played what the hymnal said because I had 3 violinists, 2 guitars, a bass, and an organist playing with me. So I had to play a little bit more by the music. So I was watching the chord, but I wasn't just playing what's written. Like a congregational pianist should be playing more notes than the 4 that are written. Those 4 were just written for the soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. So the congregational pianist's job is to expand it and make it more full. So a little bit of both. I look at the music, but I'm not just playing a chord style of congregational playing. So I hope that helps.
How do you play differently when you're playing with other instruments, like not so much melody?
Well, for congregationals, I do play a lot of melody because the pianist, in some churches, the organist is the main instrument. At ours, it's a little more balanced. The organist plays mostly melody and connecting chords, so I get to do a little more fill-ins, but I still stick to a lot of melody whenever I'm playing congregationally. But for special music, I play very little melody because there's a vocalist singing it, so you don't play a lot. When you're playing with other instrumentalists, like we got to play with a bluegrass group Sunday, you only play the melody when it's your break. So during the parts where I wasn't playing the melody, I was just doing more chords. So it's understanding like the balance of the pianist isn't always the main instrument. Sometimes it's the other instrumentalist's turn to have the verse. So you would just, sit there and do some chords until it's your verse.
Someone said, how do you cover up mistakes? After I laugh at you, usually. And she hits a crazy chord, I always glance over at her and just shake my head like amateur. It's so funny.
I probably played 1,000 right notes in service. And the 3 that I hit wrong, the various members of the congregation who get that will look at me like, seriously, what you?
It's so funny.
Mistakes happen. I'm definitely not perfect. I don't think any pianist could say they've ever had just a flawless performance or service. I don't know. Maybe they can. So I say roll with it. Don't let it. A couple times it's embarrassed me, but then it's like, well, they, just leaves place for
so
human
funny.
error. I don't worry about mistakes anymore. I think it used to bother me more than it does now. Now it's just like, okay, whatever.
Can you play Nearer, Still Nearer?
Sure.
Can you tell us about when you started playing?
Sure.
How long?
I started I took about a year from 4 to 5. Probably didn't accomplish a whole lot during that, but I'm sure it gave me a little bit of a foundation. I started formal lessons with a genius woman named Ina Pegram at 5 years old, and I took from her until I graduated from high school. And she was extremely hard on me, and she would often say, it's a sin to do less than your best, when I would come in there and play something that I was capable of doing, but really had not put my best effort into it. And she honestly would give me more to do than I probably could get done, but she didn't want me to know that. And so because I wanted to get her expectation there, I would work harder, but she really is probably the reason that I'm not sloppy, because she wouldn't let me be. And she would say, people tell you you're good, but what we both know is you really don't work that hard, so here's what the real reality is. So I would have to work a lot harder. And I competed classically all through those years, which is great for fingerwork. I think classical music has a great value in the development of a pianist. It's not, even though I focus now on church music and hymn playing, classical music is a very big part of my foundation, so I absolutely love it. And then when I was 12, our church had 2 pianos, a grand and an upright. And I started playing the upright a little bit. Like whenever that second pianist wasn't there, they would have me play on Wednesdays or something like that. And so that kind of was my little laboratory over there, because people couldn't really hear me very well because the grand was mic'd. My little piano wasn't. But I got to practice. And so I thought, man, I love this hymn playing stuff. When I was 14, my granddad, who was the pastor of our church, asked me to start playing for our youth choir. And he asked me on Sunday morning after church, I think at family dinner, And I sobbed all afternoon at the thought of having to play by myself on the big piano with the choir singing. And I thought I could not do that. I was terrified. And that night when I played, my foot bounced so hard on the pedal because I was so nervous, it kept hitting the top of the piano, and it was awful. It took me several weeks before I was really comfortable doing that. And I guess that was 14, and so from then on out, I started playing a lot more, and then I became like the substitute congregational pianist at our church when the regular pianist was out of town. And
how long did you practice?
a day, hour and a half was the average during competition season. If I was trying to get ready for a big piece, it was north of 2 hours. Some like a short practice day was an hour. I was required to do that though. My piano teacher had a 6-hour club and a 10-hour club, and so that was practicing a lot was not an option. So I'd have to get some in the morning, some in the evening, because we were involved in everything at school. So.
How often do you still play a week?
At church, obviously, so Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night. I'm a choir teacher, so I'm still at a piano a lot because I teach with a standing piano until close to competition when my accompanist is in there. So I'm still at a piano, honestly, just about a couple hours a day, but it's choral music, so it's not the same as like me practicing. I don't practice as much as I should be. I should still be practicing.
Do you sing a song in your head to keep the beat when you're playing?
Sometimes, but it's not really to keep the beat. It's to help me play the words. So like, Nearer Still Nearer that I just played, I love the line, "Give me but Jesus my Lord crucified." So I'm trying to play the text. So it's not so much that I'm trying to keep the rhythm, but it's that I want to think about the words.
Okay. Can you play Power of the Cross?
Sure. I hope so. Yeah, hang on one second. Let me check and see if I have that book.
I'm gonna grab. I can't remember what Power of the Cross is.
I know it, and I'm just afraid I'm going to mess it up. My book with it is at school. See, I knew I'd do that. That wasn't very good. I'm sorry. I was trying to do it by memory, and I haven't played that one in a while or heard it in a while. That's a good one, though. I need to practice
How do you like to transition between stanzas during congregational playing?
I look at the words, really. That's a big deal to me, is that congregational pianists recognize you're not just there to keep everybody in rhythm. You're there to communicate a text. So, I don't know. I don't want to do Comforters Come. People may not know that one as much. A song like I did, Great Is Thy Faithfulness, or It Is Well, or some of those big songs. Like, think about the words while you're playing. That's your time of worship too, not just to be playing the notes. So I think about what the words are saying, So if it's like, let's just do It Is Well because that's the first one that popped into my head. But like, when peace like a river. So how can you make it sound like a river? How can you make it sound peaceful? So I'm going to use more rolling. Okay, when sorrow. Sea billows. Whatever my lie, he kind of came to a point of contentment. Okay, well then the last verse is not that way at all. It's, and Lord, haste the day when my faith shall become sight. The clouds are going to be rolled back as a scroll. Okay, so there's all that going on. Well, I'm not going to be going, and Lord, thank you. Okay, I'm going to be playing it a lot better. I'm going to usually change up a half step for the last verse, but not always. I'll keep it in C just to keep it simple. So I'm going to be going. Bigger. Sorry, that was a little bit sloppy. It's to keep it much bigger because you're talking about heaven. And when the congregational pianist does something different in your playing, it renews the congregation's attention to the words. Like, it can make us all focus. Whereas if you played all 4 verses and you don't think about the words, now if that's where your level is, that's fine. For the last verse, move your right hand up an octave. Move your left hand down. Add a couple big chords. So do some big octave things that you can do to connect it. Octaving your melody is a great way to renew your audience's attention. Ways that if your level is not to throw in a giant arpeggio, that you can still expand it and make the words even more powerful while everyone's singing it.
What has been your most challenging piece of music?
I played this really obnoxious Prokofiev sonata in 10th grade that I did not enjoy. One of the most fun, challenging pieces was Polichinelle by Rachmaninoff, and that's super, super cool. I'm going to make a video of that one day. I know everybody on that channel likes the hymns, but I want to do a classical edition because I love all that stuff. Another one by Debussy, Jardin sur la pluie, it's Gardens in the Rain, was a monster because of how it was just real. It was all that stuff, and it was like 10 pages of that. It was very hard to memorize. So I guess that would be probably... I played a Brahms intermezzo that I really loved. It was very hard, but it was very beautiful too, so I enjoyed learning it.
Can you play a classical song?
Sure. Let me see. If I have my Debussy book in here, I'd rather do like arabesque or something. Let me see. I don't know if this one has arabesque in it. Hold on. Where's my Rachmaninoff book?
Have you ever played any Piano Guys songs? All of Me? If so, can you play it?
Well, All of Me is not a Piano Guys song, I don't think. I think they did a cover of that from whoever actually recorded it, and I'm not... I listened to it a little bit of the Piano Guys. I think their stuff is really good. I don't know All of Me all. I've probably only heard it like in a store or something. Let's see. Do we want something fast and like furious or super pretty?
Pretty.
Pretty?
Yeah, I got to vote on that one.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, I like this one.
I'll run the page. I can choose
I
sometimes.
haven't done this one in a very long time. Oh, that's a cool one. I don't know. Polichinelle might be kind of fun. Okay, we'll do just a little bit of this one because it's so gorgeous. Calling it back to 9th grade. that's enough of that because it's like 4 pages long.
Okay.
Okay, thank y'all
That's
very
it.
much for watching. Hope it was.
Thank y'all so much for watching. We will do it again. And I will post this on the YouTube channel and I'll leave it up on our Instagram page for like the next 24 hours or whatever. See y'all later.